And here we are, 99 years to the time and day that the war to end all wars was to be signed with the armistice, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. At this point in time, I'd like to first begin by recognizing all of the many veterans with you. If you are here, would you please stand? Would you raise your hand? Please let us recognize you. This day is about you. This monument is about you. Thank you for your service. Before we begin, I also want to recognize three individuals who, when we asked for support of this initiative, they responded, "When do we begin?" Mr. Bill Criswell, whose persistence and commitment saw this to fruition. Bill is the co-founder of Home at Last, and to date they've provided 7 homes for war-disabled veterans. He has spent countless hours working for his community. And I knew Bill was the right guy because if you know Bill, no one says no to Bill. We used you. I also want to recognize Stephen Withers, who designed the memorial, spent countless hours building models and mock-ups, spent hours to show the decision makers that this was not only a great design, but this was the best design. And to Steve Fossen, designer of the plaques, coordinator of construction, and public relations expert extraordinaire. To you gentlemen, I and the town of Windermere not only say thank you, but job well done. I'm also going to just take a moment and I'm going to recognize the many, many individuals who helped this to fruition. There have been no tax dollars spent on this monument. There have been no tax dollars spent on this event. And without these individuals and organizations, none of this would be possible. And if they were willing to take the time to write a check or do in kind, I would like to just recognize them. These individuals will be recognized on a donor plaque. The David Boers family, the Williams family in memory of Lauren Andy Williams, mayor of Windermere from 1952, 1955. The Windermere Downtown Business Association, Fence Outlet, Windermere Wine and Dine, the West Orange Times and Windermere Observer, the Butcher family in memory of Captain Butcher, United States Navy, and Colonel Seeley, United States Air Force, Steve and Wendy Fossen, the Forrest family, Abney Insurance, the Carr family, James and Lynn Pasilla, George Polker, Judy Black, Home at Last, Byron and Norma Sutton, the Lawrence family, the Windermere Police Foundation, the Rotary Club of Windermere, Joyce Rose and family in memory of Lieutenant Colonel Rose, the daughters of Colonel William Nix in his memory, George E. Foote Sr. To you and the rest of our residents, we appreciate it. Other people also made donations, and I want to take a moment and just recognize them. Some were in kind, some were different types of donations, but I want to take a moment and recognize Don Greer, Doug Bowman, Paul and Susan Kennard, Tony Spratt, Windermere Center for Dentistry, Dorothy Taylor, Lieutenant General Jay Gardner, retired, Windermere Counseling, Reliable Roofing, Donald Deborah Neal, Realty International, Susan Sun Nunnemaker, Barbara Frazier, Charles and Shirley Harsh, Frank and Diane Krenz, Don and Karen Harrison, Carl Sandberg, Gene Spears, Everett Fisher, Moonlight Landscape Lighting, Ellie Luz. Obviously, this was a real family event, if you would, a neighbor event. And again, to you, I, and the residents of Windermere and our veterans, thank you for your generosity and recognizing the men and women who have answered the call of our nation. Let's begin our dedication. At this time, I'd like to ask Ray Lloyd, pastor of Windermere First Baptist Church, would you lead us in the invocation, Pastor?
On behalf of Dr. Chuck Carter and the staff at Windermere, we want to thank you for gathering today, and we want to talk to the God over this nation and just ask his blessing upon this gathering today and upon each family member and each soldier that's represented. Let's pray together. Lord, thank you. Thank you for this gathering today. Thank you for the beauty of this weather. Thank you for the wonderful place that you allow us to live. We're so grateful. Father, thank you Thank you for the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Coast Guard. Thank you for every sacrifice, every moment of surrender, every time of complete dedication to freedom. Thank you. Thank you, God, for calling these men and women to protect the freedoms that we enjoy. Thank you, God, for their families that gave them the support that they needed, their husbands, their wives, their children, their parents. Thank you, God, for the moments that you were with their families while they had to be away. And Father, for those that are serving our country today, Lord, I pray your protection and your blessing upon them as they protect the freedom that we enjoy. And Lord, as we gather tomorrow in our houses of worship, I pray, God, that you will help us understand and know that the freedoms that we enjoy were bought with a price not only by our country and leaders to protect that freedom, but also the price of Jesus Christ dying on the cross for our sins, so that we could be connected to you, God, so that you would hear our prayers, and so that we would know that we are not alone in this world. So, Father, comfort those that are struggling today. Give peace to those that need to know that they have what they need in you. And Lord, today as we gather in this beautiful city of Windermere, I thank you for the privilege of being able to talk to you. And we agree together, this nation needs peace. This nation needs healing. This nation needs strong leadership. And we ask you, God, with our whole heart, to continue to bless us with the greatest nation that's ever been on this earth, the United States of America. Thank you for allowing us to be here. In Jesus' name, we ask your blessings. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Well said. This time, I'm going to order the presentation of the colors. Honor Guard, present the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as Wendy Proctor and our Orlando Concert Band perform the national anthem. Please remain standing, and I would like to ask Mr. Bill Criswell to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Criswell is a veteran, former Navy Seabee, and as I told you before, founder of Home at Last.
Please join me. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor Guard, you may retire the colors. Today it is our privilege to say thank you. Thank you to all American veterans, to let them know we appreciate them for their service and we honor them for their sacrifices. 99 years ago today, at this very hour, as I said earlier, 11 a.m., the 11th day of the 11th month, the World War I armistice was signed. As it said at that time, it would be the war to end all wars. It was signed in a railway coach near the battle zone in France. Originally called Armistice Day, the name was changed in 1954 to honor all veterans. And unlike Memorial Day, Veterans Day is more of a celebration. We celebrate the lives and the actions of the men and women who have served our country honorably and faithfully. So I am pleased to announce that today, thanks to the great financial support of many citizens and organizations, we have the ability to honor each of the 5 branches of military service who have preserved and protected our freedom and liberty for over 240 years. As a veteran and the son of a career military man, and my mother was even a veteran, she served in the Women's Army Corps. They called them a WAC. Yes, they did exist. Is with great pleasure that we can dedicate this monument. One of my favorite pieces of prose is "It is the soldier," and I think it kind of sums up everything that I kind of like to think about. And I think it was written in 1970, but I think it holds such more truth even more today. It is the soldier, not the minister, who has given us freedom of religion. It is the soldier, not the reporter, who has given us freedom of the press. It is the soldier, not the poet, who has given us freedom of speech. It is the soldier, not the campus organizer, who has given us freedom to protest. It is the soldier, not the lawyer, who has given us the right to a fair trial. It is the soldier, not the politician, who has given us the right to vote. It is the soldier who salutes the flag, who serves beneath the flag, and whose coffin is draped by the flag, who allows the protesters to burn the flag. Now about our monument. In the circular area at the outer edge of our flag plaza, we've installed 6 permanent concrete pedestals. 5 of the pedestals will display a bronze plaque recognizing each branch of the military service. Our sentry guard in uniform standing at parade rest is standing at each pedestal. The 6th displays the Great Seal of the United States and is a declaration of the debt of honor we owe the men and women who have served and are serving our country. Since the armistice in World War I, we have participated in 5 wars: World War II, Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Gulf War, and of course, presently the War on Terror. Let's begin our dedication. Our first and oldest military service is the United States Army, founded June 14, 1775 by General George Washington. It is the largest branch of our armed forces, and in 2017 had a combined component of 990,000 soldiers, officers, enlisted men. The Army's role is ground-based warfare. Their motto is "This we will defend." Their colors are black and gold, and their headquarters are at the Pentagon. Captain Rivera, remove the shroud from the Army monument. Mr. Band Director, would you please play "The Army Keeps Rolling Along"? Our second oldest military service is the United States Navy. Founded October 13th, 1775 at Philadelphia, Pennsylvania by John Paul Jones and John Berry. Their motto is "Non sibi sed patria," not for self, but for country. Their colors are blue and gold, and the U.S. Navy is the largest, most capable Navy in the world. It has the world's largest aircraft carrier fleet with 11 carriers in service, 2 in the reserve, and 2 under construction. The service has over 322,000 officers and enlisted personnel on active duty and over 107,000 in the Navy Reserve. It has 276 deployable combat vessels and more than 3,700 operational aircraft. Petty Officer Gardner, please remove the shroud from the Navy monument. Band director, please play Anchors Aweigh. The United States Marine Corps was founded on November 10th, 1775, in Philadelphia by Samuel Nicholas. Yesterday was their 242nd birthday. Happy birthday, Corps. Their nicknames are Devil Dogs, Jarheads, Leathernecks, and more commonly, the few, the proud, the Marines. Their motto is Semper Fidelis, meaning always faithful or always loyal. Their role is amphibious and expeditionary warfare. Their colors are scarlet and gold, and their headquarters is at the Pentagon. In 2016, the Corps had 182,000 active duty and 38,000 reserve officers and enlisted personnel, plus 1,199 aircraft. Corporal C.J. Barnes, please remove the shroud from the Marine Monument. Band director, please play the Marine hymn, Semper Fidelis. Our fourth great service is the United States Coast Guard, founded August 4th, 1790 by Alexander Hamilton. As one of our country's 5 armed services, the Coast Guard has been involved in every United States war from 1790 to Iraq and Afghanistan. Their role is coastal defense, maritime law enforcement, and search and rescue. Their motto is Semper Paratus, always ready. They have over 36,000 men and women on active duty, 7,350 reservists, 29,620 auxiliary members, and over 7,000 civilian employees. In terms of size, the Coast Guard by itself is the 12th largest naval force. Coast Guard veteran fireman William Duggar, please remove the shroud from the Coast Guard monument. Band director, please play Semper Paratus. Our fifth great service is the United States Air Force, founded by the United States Congress. Initially part of the United States Army, the Air Force was formed as a separate branch of the military on September 18, 1947, and is the most recent branch of the military to be formed. The Air Force is the aerial warfare service branch of the United States Armed Forces and is the largest and one of the most technologically advanced air forces in the world. Their role is control of air, space, and cyberspace. Their headquarters is at the Pentagon. As of 2017, the service operates more than 5,369 military aircraft, 406 ICBMs, and 69 military satellites. And that's just what they're willing to tell us. Their motto is fly, fight, win. Lieutenant Colonel Neil Funston, please remove the shroud from the Air Force Monument. Band director, please play the Air Force song, Off We Go. Our sixth monument and plaque has the Great Seal of the United States and contains a declaration of the debt of honor we owe the men and women who have served and are serving our country. I would like to read the inscription. Under the seal of our great nation, we commemorate the 5 branches of the U.S. Armed Forces, veterans and those who served with bravery and honor to defend our freedoms. Dedicated Veterans Day, November 11th, 2017, the Town of Windermere. Sentry Guards, you are relieved of duty. Please join your friends and family. Thank you for your service, and let's give a big round of applause to these men and women. This concludes the memorial segment of our Veterans Day program, and I hope you have found it enjoyable. At the conclusion of today's program, I urge each of you to take a moment to view each monument, but our event is not over. I now have the great honor and pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Brigadier General George A. Landis, U.S. Army retired. General Landis received an Army ROT commission and a Bachelor of Science degree from Kent State. He later earned an MBA from Texas Tech University. He also graduated from the Army Command and Staff College, the Army Training with Industry program at Amtrak, the Defense Institute of Security Assistant Management, the U.S. Army War College, and the Senior Management and Government program at the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard, or as they say, Harvard. Some of General Landis' awards and honors include the Distinguished Service Medal, Defense Superior Service Medal, the Legion of Merit, the Defense Meritorious Service Medal with 3 oak leaf clusters, the Air Medal, the Army Commendation Medal with 3 oak leaf clusters, Master Parachutist Badge, the Order of St. Barbara, the Royal Thai Army Balloon Parachutist Badge, and the Bronze Star Medal. He and his wife Sandy reside here in Orlando, where they delight in hosting their children and grandchildren as frequently as possible. Please join me in a very, very warm welcome to Brigadier General George A. Landis.
Good morning. I want to thank you very much for the invitation to come and participate in this wonderful event. And I want to echo what the mayor said. Please come up and look at these beautiful plaques. I apologize that I have not written a speech. It's not my way. I choose to just say what's on my mind. And so if you don't mind, I'm just going to go on because I kind of like to hear what I have to say. The mayor stole some of my thunder to talk about the early times of the Veterans Day, but it is so special. I'm very proud to be one of about 22 million veterans in this nation. About 1.7 of those are in Florida. 1.7 million, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, there are a lot of wounded veterans. You've seen those here today. My friend Elmer and CJ and others who have the Home at Last program behind them. They're the real heroes. I'm not a hero, but I've served with them, and I recognize them, and I know when I see them. My wife's advice was be brief and be gone, and with what's happening, I'll maybe cut it even shorter. I'm so proud to be in the uniform of the United States Army, and I see my other veteran friends here. I'm really humbled to be one. It's a long tradition in my family going back to the Civil War. Both my great-great-grandfathers fought in that Civil War, and my maternal great-great-grandfather was at Gettysburg, and his name is on the Pennsylvania Memorial at Gettysburg, which is the largest memorial on the battleground. I want to make a comment since I saw the Ken Burns series on Vietnam, and I want to speak for not just myself. I think I can speak for some more veterans who feel that did not do the right job. I made a comment earlier this week that I thought it was mostly unfair. Nothing positive was said in those series that I saw anyway. I was pretty upset. When I deployed to Vietnam in 1967, which is the hardest things we troops do, leaving behind my lovely bride and a 2-year-old and a 3-month-old. It was hard. I will tell you it was hard. You've been there. Many of you have been there. You know what it's like. The tears don't stop for a long time. And I went off to Vietnam as I was instructed to do. Leaving my family was hard, but serving my nation was my due. And I'm proud to have done it because I had a unique experience. I spent 37 months behind the wall in Berlin, watching what happens as communism takes over. So I was pretty bitter about it. When we first arrived in 1964, we went to downtown Berlin. It's like New York City. Lights, sidewalk cafes, restaurants, theaters, everything. You cross Checkpoint Charlie, you go into Never Never Land. No lights, no people, no cars, no joy. So we spent 37 months doing that. I was a commander on the train that went from West Berlin through East Germany to West Germany. It wasn't a very friendly ally. The Russians were in charge, but they used their puppets, the East Germans, to harass our trains. The British, French, and Americans all had trains running from Berlin to the West German border. They were pulled by East German engines. And the State Department demanded that we would, every time the train stopped, we would get off, inspect the engine, and if there was a communist or a DDR flag on the front, we were to issue a protest at the checkpoint. On the 1st of May, 1965, Lieutenant Landis led a train to the checkpoint where they put us off on about the 4th rail. I got off to do my duty, and my interpreter got off with me, and as we walked toward the front of the train, a Russian soldier told me to halt. I heard him and ignored him. My interpreter said, "Hey, sir," he said, "halt." I said, "I heard him. I'm doing my duty." And about that time, I felt a hand on my shoulder. This Russian enlisted man had grabbed my shoulder. And it wasn't bravery, it was just, I was angry. I turned around, put my finger in his face, and told him that was an unauthorized way to treat a senior officer because we were allies. And he proceeded to lock and load. Put that AK-47 about 6 inches from my navel. I don't think anything was moving for a minute until I got my wits about me and went over to his boss and said, "I want to issue a protest." And the Russian captain said, "I don't do protests, that's for politicians. I'm a soldier. If you want to do a protest, go to the embassy." Well, we had quite a standoff for some period of time, and I was one of 3 who were harassed that night, the only one to have been accosted with a weapon. But it was just to tell you that it was a dangerous time, that the communists operates so differently. I mean, every day I pray thanks for living in a nation this strong, this free, this wonderful. So I had that in my mind as I went off to Vietnam because we were told that communists were going to take over. I'm not into geopolitical things, especially as a captain. I just want to go do my job. I get off an air-conditioned airplane, I got on an air-conditioned bus, and I went to the replacement office. On the way, we went through a little village. And on the dirt floor were kids playing. They were the ages of my kids. No clothes, playing with a beetle or a dead bug or a beer can or something else. And I'll tell you, I wept. Thinking of my kids back home. My daughter Kelly is back there. She was 3 months old as I got there. And I was just devastated. I said, if we do nothing else, if we can't help this country in some way, build up and take care of these children, we're not doing our job. So I did what I was told. And one thing that sticks strongly in my memory is walking down the company street. I commanded a company of 185 men driving tractor trailers on bullets and beans up the road every day. And I thought about the family back home, and I was kind of grieving a bit, but this Vietnamese captain grabbed my hand and looked me in the eye, and he said, you know, this is my country, and I'm here, and I need to fight. My family needs to fight. He said, but you're from halfway around the world, and you're here to help me. He said, how do I thank you? And I'm telling you, that stuck with me to this day. So I have very fond memories, and I don't think Ken Burns did us any favors with the way he presented it, because the men and women who fought in that war were as brave as any others. They did their jobs. We were told we lost the war. It's not true. So I was a little bit embittered by that. And last night I read a letter that was written by Major General Pat Brady, who was a colleague of mine, served with him in San Francisco. He's a recipient of the Medal of Honor. And I challenge you to Google it and see what he said about Ken Burns. It's about 4 pages long, and it's what can I say? You need to read it yourself. So, well, the range has lessened up, but I still don't want it to talk too much longer. I will say that I'm really thrilled with what Windermere has done, recognizing our many veterans out here and what they have done. They put on the uniform, they said goodbye to their families, they said goodbye to sometimes good jobs, education, all kinds of things, and went off to do the bidding of the nation. They put their blood, their sweat, their tears into their jobs. Many not recognized. Yes, we have plenty of heroes, but how about the millions of people that just went, did their job, and came home? We need to recognize them as well. So find a veteran, thank a veteran, invite a veteran to coffee, drive a veteran to the hospital, do something that could add to them, help them. Most of all, just listen to them. They have wonderful stories to tell you. Particularly help them in transition. When they leave active duty and come to your neighborhood, as the folks in Oakland have done, reach out. And when someone's deployed, help their family. There's all kinds of things we could do to say thanks. We can never say enough, because everyone who has done this has written a blank check to the United States of America for everything up into including life. And the real heroes, in my estimation, are those that are listed on the wall from my era, who are at Arlington and Punch Bowl and Bunnell and so many other places. They're the ones who gave the ultimate so that we could enjoy this country, the greatest country that ever lived. And I'll end by just telling you a transition story of my own. I retired from active duty in 1993, thought I was going to go out and be, I'm a big deal. I'm going to go out from a command here, I'll go out and be a CEO of something, obviously. Well, I got my first job offer was in New York City, and off I went. Interview went quite well. They asked me to bring my wife back. We both went up there. We ran into all kinds of difficulties. So, if you're a New York City person, I'm sorry, but there are some characters there. After we ran into some of these characters, Sandy looked at me and she said, this is a good job. It's pretty high paying. think it's very good for you. But I'm going back to Fairfax County. We then lived in Virginia. So I turned that one down. About a month later, I got an offer from one of the big defense contractors to go out to Scott Air Force Base. That didn't seem to fit. But then the well went dry. Nothing happened. I was trying to do some consulting, wasn't having too much success, but I was really down. Told Sandy one day, I said, listen, I'm a little concerned. Nothing's happening. I don't get any calls, no responses to resumes. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to support you in a manner to which you've become accustomed. Will you still love me if I can't get this? And she said, honey, look, at that time we've been married 30 years. She said, look, not a problem. We've been married these 30 years. We've had a wonderful relationship. We've got 2 beautiful children. We've traveled the world. We have a lovely house. She said, I will always love you, but I will miss you. I want to thank all the veterans who are here. I want to thank those of you who support our veterans. And I want to thank God for his blessings. You did so well, Pastor Lloyd. Thank you so much. It's not politically correct in these days. If I was still on active duty, I couldn't do that. But when I was a company commander and we were doing convoys, if the chaplain wasn't available, I said the prayer. And I would do it today, and they'd probably fire me. But that's where I stand. So thank you very much for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry you got a little bit wet. Thank you for what you do for our veterans. God bless you all, and God bless America.
Thank you, General. Very, very well done. I enjoyed that. And I got to thank once again Pastor Lloyd. I said, could you ask God for 15 minutes? You delivered. Very, very well done. Okay, we also very honored to have with us today, and as our partner, Windermere Rotary. And today's Veterans Day program wouldn't be possible without their support. I'm very, very happy to have with us Windermere Rotary Club President Norma Sutton. She's going to offer a few thoughts. Norma's husband, Byron, retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, and her son, which I'm sure she'll talk about, Colonel Harley Bodine, is Vice Commander of the 11th Air Force. Norma is serving her 2nd term as club president and is familiar to many of you through many of her civic engagements and community activities. Please join me in welcoming President Sutton.
Thank you, Gary, and thank you, General Landis, for your service, for your inspiring words, and thank you, Sandy, for your service, you and your family. It means a lot to all of us. As the current president of the Rotary Club of Windermere, it's my job to make sure everyone has been properly thanked for this beautiful dedication project. Gary has done a great job of that. He mentioned Bill Creswell, Stephen Fozen, Stephen Withers. He didn't mention himself. So we owe a lot of thanks and appreciation to Gary. Ever since the 9/11 memorial was finished behind the town hall, Gary has wanted this Veterans Memorial. So we need to give Gary and these other 3 a big round of applause and thank you. They worked long hours and spent a lot of time designing, thinking, arguing, and discussing how this would turn out. And as you can see, this beautiful project has turned out gorgeously. I also want to thank you. You know, we reached out to the residents, to our neighbors, for financial support for this project. Your generosity exceeded our expectations. We raised over $36,000. We received hundreds of hours of volunteer service, many products, and a lot of inspiration and encouragement. So we want to thank you for that. We want you to know that this project will be paid for in full, and we want you to know that if we have any excess funds, they will all be spent solely to support veterans. Our Wounded Warriors Project, our Home at Last Project, the USO, and many other projects that support our veterans. So we thank you for that. You know, the partnership between the Rotary Club and the Town of Windermere has many benefits for the community. The Little League baseball fields, the porch on the back of the town hall are just two examples. We work together very well, and we work in unison to make sure that we have the best community that we can possibly have. We thank the Rotary members, we thank the town staff and administration, and all of the help and support that they have given to put this event together today. You know, the Rotary has 33,000 clubs around the world. Each of these clubs works in their local communities to do things like this, but also on a global level. We strive to eradicate polio. We promote literacy. We protect women and children. We provide clean water. We need you to come and help us do this. We meet every Tuesday morning, catch this, 6:54 a.m., right here in the town hall. So if you'd like to know more about Rotary, please come and visit us. We'll be glad to meet you, introduce you, and share our service projects with you. You know, this dedication is very personal to me. I hope I can say this without getting choked up. But my father, 22-year-old Marine that managed to climb a hill carrying a bazooka and survived Iwo Jima, awarded the Bronze Star. My husband, as Gary mentioned, 28 years in the Air Force, fighter pilot, the Silver Star, I'll get it right, 3 Distinguished Flying Crosses, the Bronze Star, 2 tours, one in Vietnam, one in the Middle East, and actually recorded more hours flying sorties in Vietnam than anyone has ever done in his 12-month tour. My son, as Gary mentioned, obviously a West Orange High School graduate, an Air Force Academy graduate, a fighter pilot, flies F-15s and F-16s, 4 tours of duty in the Middle East, the commander of the 611 Air and Space Operations in Alaska, and today, the vice commander of the 11th Air Force. Proud mama, needless to say, proud family. So this is very special to me, and it will help our family remember all of that service. We love our community. We respect our citizens. We honor our veterans. We thank our servicemen and women. We love America, and we know that we are the home of the free because of these brave. Thank you.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and it can't take many years. And I'm proud to be an American, where it is I know I'm free, and I won't forget, never doubt again that right to me. And I know this land, yesterday, the defenders still today, that there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, from New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's kind